Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mysterious Pals. My name is Chris, and I'm here with a guy who needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. His dad called him Handy Randy once, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Handy Randy.
But you know him as Jordan.
Randy.
Jordan.
Yeah, Chris, hello.
Good to have you in the Mysterious Studio today.
Mysterious Dungeon.
Yeah. And I watched the Taylor Swift Eras Tour video recently.
Why?
Because I have a 8-year-old.
Okay.
And
yeah, that's why.
A lot of money involved in that thing. She's quite a performer.
Yeah.
That's a long time to be singing and dancing. A lot of changes. But we're not here to talk about that person.
No, we're not doing a podcast about her.
We just changed this
yeah,
about Miss Taylor Swift. That's all
Travis
we're here for.
Kelce. No one's sick of that.
That's pause of silence if you're listening is us rolling our eyes and Jordan putting his head down. Any case, thank you for being here. And we are here today to talk about something mysterious, probably.
Sure.
And that's going to be brought to us by Jordan. Jordan, what do you got for us today?
There's something, I got to call back to something here. I'm going to read a synopsis to a movie.
Synopsis to a movie.
Yeah, this was brought to my attention by a friend from work. His name's Jeff. Not that Jeff of Deathland, but he started watching some of her stuff, and he's like, hey, man, you did an episode. And it reminds me of a movie.
Of his movie? Or
a movie.
Now, when you say Jeff from Deathland, it's not him.
No, it's not him, no.
But Deathland is the band that you should listen to,
right,
who does our music.
Yes, the intro.
Okay.
All right, so did you ever watch Get Smart?
Like the old show?
Yeah, I never watched it. I feel like I should because Mel Brooks had a big part in that, apparently.
Mel Brooks.
Yeah, he did
Blazing Saddles
and Spaceballs, amazing movies. This is a synopsis to a movie they did in the 80s based on that show. All right, this is a synopsis of the movie. Here we go.
When's this movie come out?
It came out in 1980.
Oh, man.
So, 40-something years ago? Oh, my God. Here we go. While enjoying retirement, secret agent Maxwell Smart soon finds the world needs his services again. With a KAOS, or Chaos, terrorist plot underway, the chief of the Pitts agency re-enlists Smart to keep chaos from detonating bombs that leave their helpless victims in the buff.
Oh. Wait, so the party missiles.
The movie's called The Nude Bomb.
Someone stole our idea 40 years ago.
40 years ago.
Oh,
he told me, I was like, what?
Mel Brooks beat us to it.
Well, so I guess Mel Brooks didn't have anything to do with the movie, and the movie like flopped, but
good.
Yeah, it's called The Nude Bomb.
Well, that was a bomb. We had a missile.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they didn't have missiles back then.
Yeah. Huh?
I don't know. Yes, I'm kidding. They had missiles. I know that.
I was very happy
joking.
and bummed at the same time that that's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we're in good company then. If that just means that we're smart.
They were onto something with that.
We got smart.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yes. In any case, what the hell are you doing here today?
Well, Chris, we got depending on how you look at this.
I look at us.
Depending on how you look at this topic.
Oh, look at us. Look at this.
Look at this.
The story.
The story. It could be considered dark.
It's going to be dark.
But, again, depending on how you look at it.
I'm pretty sure it's dark.
It could be a happy ending? Question mark?
I'm going to say that it's not going to be a happy ending. And I'm going to say...
For some involved, it was a happy ending, maybe.
Okay.
All right. This mystery of ours starts on a Sunday morning in Hexham, a small town in Northumberland, England.
Northern England.
Northumberland, England.
Northumberland, England.
Yeah, it's like northeastern England. The date is May 5th, 1967. Two sisters, a 6-year-old Jacqueline Pollock and 11-year-old Joanna, are on their way to church with their friend, a 9-year-old Anthony. Okay, there's Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, church,
going
kids.
to church.
It can't be dark.
No.
Why would you bring this up?
Meanwhile, a local woman across town was not doing too well. After losing custody of her children, this lady had become severely depressed. She apparently lost custody because she was mentally unstable. You guys see where this is going?
No. You said it wasn't going to be. You said it wasn't going to be sad.
Well,
Dark.
Well, it is, of course, at the beginning, but again, you'll see. All right. So reports
You didn't say that.
at this point kind of vary. So either the woman was planning to commit suicide by ingesting what she thought was a fatal amount of prescription drugs, and she's planning on getting behind the wheel of her car and crashing into something. Or, while she was on the drugs, she was planning on taking her life while crashing her car into someone. Again, this varies from what I read. Either way, while in her car, this woman jumps a curb, ramming into 3 children, pinning them against the wall. The sisters, Jacqueline and Joanna Pollock, die on the spot, while their friend Anthony dies on his way to the hospital.
Not dark at all. Thanks for opening that up in the beginning.
But there's some some spirituality in here.
You can only go up.
This woman was sent to a psychiatric hospital again.
Wait, she didn't die?
No, the woman did not die.
What the hell?
She wanted to die, but she did not. Instead, she killed 3 innocent kids. She gets arrested, sent to a psychiatric hospital. Again, it varies whether this was intentional or not. Some say she did this on purpose out of grief. Others said she tried to swerve and miss the children, but couldn't because the drugs had taken effect. So she saw the kids. It's like either she's like, I'm taking them out from grief, or she's like, oh, what am I about to do? I'm about to hit these kids. So she wasn't able to react in time because she was heavily drugged.
Don't get behind the wheel if you have any type of stuff in your system.
But I don't understand.
Call an Uber.
If she wanted to take a fatal dose, why did she decide to go get in the car and drive? Like, one of the fatal dose, or just like...
Yeah, just sit down.
Yes, sit down and let
Just
someone find your
nap.
dead, smelly body weeks later.
Yeah, take a nap. Do anything else besides get in the car and try to hurt other people.
Yeah. All right, so that's the. I think that's the.
Oh, that's the easy part.
That's the sad part there.
You said there wasn't no sad part.
I did. It said it starts dark, but depending on how you look at it,
I
does
think I
have
looked
a
at
happy
it
ending?
darkly.
Maybe.
Okay.
All right, so let's jump back in time a few years to go over some of the family history of these Pollock sisters.
Oh, let's go back.
Before moving forward with the weird mystery stuff, okay? The parents of the deceased sisters, John and Florence Pollock, were owners and operators of a grocery and dairy delivery service. John was Catholic. This is important. We'll go over that later. And Florence was Protestant, but she converted to Catholicism when they got married. Catholicism when they got married, sorry. In 1946, they had Joanna. 5 years later, after moving to Hexham, they had Jacqueline. John and Florence were very busy with the business, so the girls were mostly raised by Florence's mother, so their maternal grandmother. Joanna would often mother the younger Jacqueline. Joanna was much more outgoing and generous, and she liked to dress up and perform plays.
All you're doing is making this worse. I don't know. Let's hear these kids die, then go and find out how great people they were and which sunshine rays they were to everybody around them.
Well, this is all for a reason, Chris. I understand it's dark, though. Yeah.
As long as we understand that it is dark, yes.
I think it's pretty clear. Jacqueline had a distinct birthmark on her left waist. And at the age of 3, she fell and hit her head on a bucket, giving her a scar right over her right eye on her forehead. Shortly before they died, Jacqueline was still having issues learning to write. Apparently, she held the pencil upright in her hand, like with a fist, like not actually learning how to like.
That's how you write.
Yeah, when I was reading this, I was like, how do I actually write? It's not like that, though. I don't think
That's
it's
how you color.
Yeah.
When you're using your crayons.
Yeah. As long as I get inside the lines, I'm happy. It's claimed by the parents that Joanna would frequently say, I will never be a lady.
Okay.
So is that like,
is that something we need for later?
Precognition, maybe?
Oh, I will never be a lady, as in grow up to be a lady, not just like I will always be a tomboy.
Yeah. But again, that could be
rough,
interpreted different ways. All right, so the 2 girls died May 5th, 1967.
67.
Yep. On the day of the girls' deaths, John had a vision of them up in heaven. He said he believed that their spirits were in their old room and began spending tons of time in their old room. At a young age, John became fascinated with the idea of reincarnation, which is kind of weird because he's Catholic. That's something, Christians don't believe in.
No.
That's more of a, Eastern Indian, Hindu kind of belief. And then following his daughter's death, began praying that Joanna and Jacqueline would be reincarnated.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you'd hope. I mean,
so is this like, more of a grief kind of thing? He's not properly grieving, or is this something he actually believes? Maybe a bit of both.
Wait, he hoped this after they died.
Yeah. He always I think he had at a very young age, he had an interest in reincarnation.
And he hoped that
following their death, that they might be reincarnated.
Well, you'd want anything.
Sure. This angered his wife Florence because it's something that is not typically believed in Christianity, and maybe he was not properly grieving, or she was still trying to grieve, and she's like, "Hey, you're kind of just dragging this thing out. We got to move on at some point." But not long after this, the deaths of their daughters, discover that Florence is pregnant again. John believes it will be twins. Again, he's praying for some kind of reincarnation of his deceased daughters. Their obstetrician,
OBGYN.
Nice.
Yeah.
Said there was only a single fetus in the womb. However, on October 4th, 1958, so it was only a little year after their daughters died, Florence gives birth to twins, identical twins, Gillian and Jennifer.
Man, you have to be, that had to be rough.
So they really like the J sounding names, which is going to cause me confusion trying to keep up with all these people.
Isn't that someone else's family we know?
Oh, yeah.
Huh. Okay.
It's important to note at this time that John and Florence had 4 other boys.
Whoa. After this fact, or
who
before?
were still alive prior to these twins. So these 4 boys are around before the twins were born. I guess they had 3 of the boys after the first daughter, Joanna, was born.
Okay.
And then Jacqueline. And those 2 young girls died.
So they had a whole litter of kids.
Yeah.
Ooh, rough.
Almost immediately, the parents realized that Jennifer had unusual birthmarks.
Okay.
One on her left waist, just like the deceased Jacqueline's, and the other on her forehead in the same spot as Jacqueline's scar. So at this point, I'm kind of thinking maybe the dad, he wants this so bad, he's just going in every night with a Sharpie, just putting these birthmarks on the daughter.
But reincarnation doesn't necessarily mean that they are going to be reincarnated as humans.
No,
right?
No, it does not. No.
So
they could be an animal.
You hope they weren't like a bug or something. And you're like, just get this bug out of here. And Dad, it's me. I mean, that's just, oh man. Yeah, what could you be reincarnated? Do they have rules for reincarnation?
I think it depends. You can keep being reincarnated
as a human or
as anything, and eventually
yeah. Do you get to choose what I'm asking?
No, you don't get to choose. No.
Crap.
You could keep being reincarnated until you just don't anymore, or you keep getting reincarnated. I guess you get enough karma that
it's like a level up system.
Yeah, that eventually you become one with whatever the one is. It depends on the religion. I don't know, man.
A lot of.
Do you think? When I was doing this, do you think? What do you think how do you think deja vu happens? Because I know some people believe that's a sign of reincarnation, it's something you experienced before, a memory of a past life.
I was when you first said that, I'm I don't know who the hell Deja is.
Is it just a glitch in the Matrix? You
should watch Dark, and they would tell you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That's the entire backstory of that entire show. The glitch in the Matrix. You haven't seen the ending, so you don't.
No.
Yeah. You should watch it. Yeah. I don't know. Happen? I think it's probably just coincidence.
Yeah.
More than likely, because it's a feeling you have, but I don't know because
it's weird though when it happens, man. You're just wait a second.
Wait a tick.
I've seen this and I've felt this and you're a conversation I have. I know I've done this, but you haven't.
I don't think I've ever had that.
Really?
To a significant point where I noticed it.
Okay.
I think I've had once or twice where I'm that's weird, but then.
Right.
I did have this I had this dream once. I've had it a few times. It's horrifying. I'm laying in bed, and first off, if I hear white noise when I'm sleeping, all I have is nightmares about me killing myself.
What?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. I cannot stand like white noise. Makes me have terrible, terrible nightmares. Like those white noise machines people have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me like insane. I don't know why.
I don't use them. I've done like
we had it for like kids.
Yeah.
And like, and every time I heard them, I would have like nightmares, like terrible nightmares.
Listen to ocean sounds.
That type of stuff.
Yeah, or have the fan. I have to have the fan on now whenever I go to sleep.
And mine's more of like the traditional kind of white noise machines.
Okay.
But yeah, it's horrible.
That's
the only
I think you should go talk to somebody, Chris.
Nah, that's right. The worst dream I've had a couple of times, besides the server dream, we've all had that. Even a server, you're listening to this, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where you can't get to any tables. Like you have all your sections are full, you can't get to anybody though, and it takes you forever to get someone's drink.
I have that like once a week, man. It's horrifying.
I still get them now. Even it's been years since I've been a server, but oh my god, those are the worst dreams. They're the most stressful sleep you get.
And it's always like it's like I haven't been there in a long time. Then I go back, and like the menu's different.
Yeah.
And you're just like, again,
you're like, I haven't been here like 20 minutes. Yeah. Like, oh crap.
Yeah, I haven't been here like 10 years, but I'm suddenly working here again all of a sudden.
And that dream's horrible, but there's this one dream I had that kind of really, really scares me because I have this recurring nightmare that I wake up just as I look out the window and a red flash goes off like a nuclear bomb. Mm. And then you get really, really hot. Like I get really, really hot and I wake up like just sweating.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's something like body's like saying like, hey, you're really hot, man. Wake up.
Oh, maybe.
But it's happened a few times. It's terrifying.
Yeah, I've had those like end of the world recurring dreams where they're like a mass like tidal wave, atomic explosion, tons of tornadoes kind of thing. But those like the world ending kind of stuff. I have those a lot. And then I also have a lot of where I'm back in school and I can't find my locker. If I do find it, I don't know the code for it because like those still like every time I see one of those locks, man, I panic.
Yeah, those I can't do them. I have a safe somewhere.
You'll never be able to get into it.
I still can't get into it. I've gone into it. I have left it unlocked because I can't figure out how to open it up. I know the combination, can't actually work it.
Yeah.
One day I sat down for like an hour, tried to figure it out. Finally got it open. And I think recently someone like locked it again. I was like, crap.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you have important things in there too.
Yeah. Well, that's not my need. It's just more of a safety thing.
Okay.
Like
some nunchucks.
Stuff I don't actually need every day.
Nunchucks.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's horrifying. But we went from dreams, deja vu to dreams to the end of the world to I can't work a lock. And
we're back.
Yeah.
But deja vu, I wonder if that's like considered like part of the idea of reincarnation. But then I was looking up reincarnation, and apparently you're not supposed to remember your past life.
Yeah, I was wondering if I was like a king or something, or like
that's the thing.
A warrior.
Every time I've heard people talk like, oh, like who believe in that, like, yeah, there's something cool.
Yeah.
Like I was a king. Like there's never something boring. Like I was just a garbage man.
Garbage man.
You
never think you're like an ancient guy? You're like just recent. You're like from the 1960s. Yeah, I was a garbage man.
I was a garbage man.
That died by getting crushed by garbage.
Yeah. Or I was a peasant who died from the
That's
Black
what I mean.
Death.
Like, yeah.
It's always people never say anything just normal or like lame. It's just like cool stuff. Like I was a spy.
I always have a weird thing. Like sometimes when you're like sitting there, like you're just like kind of zoning out, like watching TV or something. You're like, I think I got stabbed once and died. Like every one of those.
Do you think that?
I think if I had ever been reincarnated, I think I was stabbed in an old life.
Do you think like you were
with a sword?
All right. Was this from like
something I feel sometimes?
Huh. What? All right. Let's unpack.
It might be just a stomach ache. It might be a stomach ache, but
just gas.
Yeah.
Do you think you were like was it like a duel or like a?
No clue.
Did like a?
It could have been like a baby's mom that stabbed me. I don't know.
So you owe money to somebody?
Yeah. Or it could have been like I was a king. It could have been I was
assassinated.
Yeah.
What are those, like a highwayman got you when you're on the road there?
Yeah. I mean, either way.
Maybe, yeah.
It's stabbed.
That would have been,
I don't know. Stabbing seems like it sucks.
Yeah, of course, man. There's no like cool like stabbing.
No.
Oh, that was cool. It's got stabbed.
I mean, you'd hope you'd be like one of those stab.
Yeah. Cool story.
Or like you're like running around with it sticking out your arm, like you know,
adrenaline's going
and scoring out of the sword.
Someone's just like, "Hey, dude, you got a sword in your side." Oh, I just thought it was gas.
Yeah. Or like, there's like an episode of Family Guy again, or like Stewie gets a piece of glass in his face, and he's like, "What?" And he turns sideways, it's like this, like this far. Yeah, I think no. I mean,
I think it's cool to think about.
We've talked about it many times how much it probably sucked to live in the Middle Ages and like because of war and famine and all that stuff.
Right. I think it's kind of a neat. I don't necessarily believe in it, but I can see why people would want to because they're like.
I think people want to hang on to any reason why.
This
think that this isn't the only thing we have.
Right. You like hoping that you do some kind of good in your life, then it'll pay off in some form or another, or like, oh, my life sucks. I hope there's something better.
Yeah.
All right.
The deep talk here on deep thoughts here on Serious Pals.
Jack Handy.
Serious Pals after bedtime.
So the family decide to leave Hexham. These twins were 9 months old to start anew. This is when things start getting strange, Chris. All right, buckle up.
Always buckle.
Buckaroo.
I always buckle up as well. Everybody should at home.
At the age of 3, Gillian and Jennifer began asking for toys by name that used to belong to Joanna and Jacqueline. Florence had previously boxed them all up and placed them out of sight following the girls' deaths. So she wanted to kind of like, we got to move on. Let's put these toys away. Because they're horrible reminders. When given the toys, Gillian and Jennifer didn't fight over who got what, which is kind of weird for kids, right?
Yes, extremely.
But instead, divide them up between themselves exactly how Joanna and Jacqueline had. Also, like, so they knew, like, hey, this is mine, this is yours.
What year was this?
This is, these kids were born in 1958, so they're 3 years old, so 1960.
So there was like
something.
Actual toys. It wasn't like a husk, a corn husk looked like a doll or something, like one of those.
It's
like a stick with
the hoop and stick thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is actual
like a rock.
Toys. Yeah.
Okay.
They probably had like lead paint on them.
Yeah. We turned out fine.
So they divided these toys up exactly how Joanna and Jacqueline had. So they knew which one was whose. Also referring to them as gifts from Santa, which they were.
Originally.
Well,
for the other girls.
Originally, yeah, but come on. They weren't really gifts.
What the hell are you talking about? You see that, Santa? You don't believe. Make sure he gets nothing.
Getting coal.
Yeah.
The personalities of the twins began mimicking that.
Wait, did I ever tell you that my dad, whenever my dad gave me Christmas gifts, did I talk about this before?
Oh, it's a joke, yeah. Yeah.
They were ashes.
You told me about that, yeah.
I was like, Dad, give. And then I was like, Santa gives coal. What are you doing? You give ashes? Yeah.
The personalities of the twins began to mimic that of their deceased sisters. Gillian would often mother her twin sister Jennifer, just like the deceased Joanna would mother the younger Jacqueline. And these are twins, identical twins.
Okay.
Gillian was more social and generous than Jennifer, just like how Joanna was to Jacqueline. One time upon going back and visiting Hexham, I think they ended up moving back there. This is where the family originally was when the daughters died.
In Hexham?
Yep.
And where do they live now?
They moved. They're still in England.
Upper.
They're still in England. I can't remember the name of the place. But they were visiting, went back to visit Hexham. I think they ended up moving there. So it's a place that the twins have left when they're only 9 months old. They have no memory of it. Upon visiting, they were able to point out the school of their deceased sisters and the park that they frequented.
How old were they?
At this point, they're 3, I believe.
Okay.
They're like, hey, those are sisters'
How many
schools.
are there?
Oh, I don't know. That's good. That's a good point.
And it's a park. Kids like parks.
In a park. And they're like, oh, we know how to get to the swings. Like,
okay.
Well, I don't know.
3-year-olds.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just like, that's a swing. Like, we go to the swing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
All kind of weird.
Yeah, this is a little, okay.
The family and friends noted the similarities between the twins and their deceased sisters. Like Jacqueline, Jennifer had a stocky build, and Gillian was more slender than Joanna. Or Joanna, sorry. Apparently, the twins walked in a similar way to their sisters as well. Jennifer also held her pencil in a fisted-like fashion.
At 3 years old?
Yep.
Well.
As did Jacqueline, whereas Gillian was quick to learn to write just like Joanna did.
Okay.
At this point, John and Florence were able to take a step back from work and be at home more frequently to spend time with their family. Because they're like, oh, we have kids. We should probably enjoy time with them.
You think?
But they also had 6 kids at one point, so, they got to work.
Yeah. It's a lot of kids.
But however, they noticed that the twins preferred to be around their grandmother more than them. Remember, the previous daughters
Were with their grandparents all the time. Grandmother all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
The twins had an unusual fear of cars. Often upon hearing a car crossing streets, they go into a panic. One time they yell, the car, it's coming for us.
Creepy.
Yeah. But again, I think there's also a lot of, when we'll go into this, there's a lot of like reasonable explanation.
Cars are scary?
As to why, these girls are asking
small
this
child?
This is kind of weird. Florence recalled at one point overhearing the twins discussing the car accident, something she claims the twins had no knowledge about. She also saw Gillian cradling Jennifer's head saying, the blood's coming out of your eyes. That's where the car hit you.
Oh, boy. This is getting worse.
According to John, when he had identified his daughter's bodies after the car accident, Jacqueline's head was bandaged above the eyes.
I don't like this.
So again, the parents are saying we don't talk about this stuff with these twins about what happened to their deceased sisters. So how would they know this stuff? Whenever the twins talked about the accident, John claimed they talked about it in the present tense as if they were reliving it. All right, so the dad definitely believed that these twins were reincarnation of the previous sisters. Florence was skeptical at first, but then I think within like 2 years, she's like, yeah, I think they are. And the twins eventually believed it too. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of messed up.
Yeah.
Like you're not like,
your own
you're
people.
You're these other people that you never met.
Yeah, boy.
But again, I don't know, man. You're dealing with people's belief system, so it's kind of like, I don't know.
What's that called? The Well of Souls? It's like where all the souls, supposedly where our souls come from. It's like
what's
that called where the souls come? I think it's called the Well of Souls. I don't know. I'm not religious. Like that level where I understand.
What religion is that?
That's what I'm asking. I'm not like, I don't know the world religions. It's something, it might be more of like Dante's Inferno type of thing where it got kind of co-opted into modern Christianity or like Catholicism.
Do you have like a purgatory kind of thing, or like
like where the souls come from, and depending.
I know I've heard that before, that term, but I'm not sure. We're
really knocking on a door here, Jordan. We're surely.
By the time the twins turned 5, they began losing their memories, quotation marks, of their past lives. And as they got older, they became more skeptical.
Skeptical of that they weren't actually reincarnations?
Yeah. However, though, in 1981, Gillian, now in her 20s, claimed to have visions of playing in a sandbox in Wickham, England.
Wickham?
She was able to describe in great detail this place she had never been to before.
Wickham was where the other girls were from? Where they lived?
At one point, yeah. This was a place. This place was a town the Pollocks lived in when Joanna was 3. This is before the girls were ever born. The twins were ever born.
Okay.
She has these images where she's able to describe in great detail of this house, this town that they lived in. Let me ask you this, Chris. Is this reincarnation or something else?
I want to say that this is probably some type of projection from their parents on these kids by noticing little things. Like almost feeding them context or feeding them clues slowly, inadvertently.
Yeah.
And then parents noticing something because they want to see something, but I don't know. I'm not a
this is
witch doctor or whatever they say for this.
Witch doctor.
I don't know how this works.
This is like, in India and in a lot of like Asian countries where Buddhism and Hindu are popular, reincarnation is like a common thing. That's like, it's ingrained in the culture. So like there's instances of that, reports of that over there, but like this is kind of a big thing for, in the Western societies, Western cultures, for like people like, hey, this is reincarnation. So it's got like a lot of news.
I want to jump in here.
Really good.
The Well of Souls. sometimes translated the Pit of Souls. It's a partly man-made cave located inside the foundation stone, which is the noble rock in Islam, under the dome of the rock shrine on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem.
This is Islamic?
Yeah,
Okay.
apparently during the Crusades, it was known to the Christians as the Holy of Holies,
Oh, geez.
referring to the inner sanctum of the former Jewish temple, which, according to modern scholarship, was probably located on top of the foundation stone. The name derives from a medieval Islamic legend that at this place, the spirits of the dead can be heard awaiting Judgment Day.
Jeez.
Although this is not a mainstream view in Sunni Islam.
Okay.
So it seems like it has, the
A sect. It's like a sect of...
it's something, a part of multiple religions, kind of like Islam has a well of souls type of thing.
Yeah.
At least, I don't know.
You know,
I'm not going to go deeper into that but right now, but like it's interesting.
Yeah, I feel like I have heard that before. It said it was the Crusades? Was it like
it was
Holy of
during,
Holies?
Yeah, the Holy of Holies,
Okay.
whenever the Crusaders went through, I guess.
Hmm.
Okay, back to the dead little children. This guy,
So
everybody.
So there is a somewhat happy ending, right? Because they thought, like, this family was like, somewhat whole again.
So these dead children, these new living children, faked their parents out, or their parents treated them as if they were their dead children, because the parents obviously had some type of
Issues with grieving properly, maybe,
or they really were.
Yeah. Again, like I said, it depends on how you look at it.
I'm looking at it like it's
cuckoo.
No, it's just sad, and it's just sad.
Yeah.
You understand where the parents are coming from,
Of course, yeah.
but like,
So despite the fact that John and Florence claimed they never talked in detail about Joanna and Jacqueline's deaths to the twins, like, they still could have got this information from somewhere else. Was
Like
it
their
the grandmother, the brothers, for sure, or they just like were like, oh, and they were born only a year after their sisters had died.
Yeah,
It's probably still fresh in everyone's memory, and like I'm assuming they could feel the grief. So maybe the sisters were like, oh, let's go along with this.
especially when you bring out the toys.
Yeah, and they're young and impressionable,
Because like for example, I'd like to know, like, when the toys were coming out, right? Those toys, go back to that. Was the mom saying, "Oh, this was Jacqueline's and this was Joanna's"?
Again, you were only hearing about these strange miracles or occurrences from the parents,
right? Not even the other brothers.
Not that I saw, or the grandmother, So like, you're only hearing it from the people who believe in reincarnation.
Okay.
And again, like, I'd assume at some point, that when they go back to some, townspeople and be like, hey,
How about those dead kids, right?
yeah, aren't they your sisters? They had to have like absorbed this information somehow. Even the parents didn't talk about the whole situation specifically to them. They could have heard them over. They could have overheard them talking about it in another room. Like, hey, this,
Yeah,
this, and like,
I think there's a lot of weird similarities going on, though.
Sure.
There's a lot of weird situations where, like, when they were 9 months old, stuff happened. Before they really even.
As far as like the birthmark stuff. That's,
Okay. So I really think, at this point, I'm thinking like the parents probably inadvertently projected it on them.
Sure.
But I could be wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong.
I mean, that's what a lot of people think.
Okay.
Like their own grief, their own way of like dealing with this subconsciously, like they might have, projected this onto the kids.
Right.
Unintentionally.
So those are the theories?
That's it. There was a psychiatrist from the United States who studied this. I'm getting this off he wrote a book about, he believed in reincarnation, possibly. He's a psychiatrist in, the Western world, which is, again, kind of odd. It's not a, belief typically believed by people in the West. And again, he's a psychiatrist. He's a doctor. So I got this from a website called RTD Documentary Channel that I think is Russian. So
Yeah, it is. I've
Okay.
seen that before. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, first off, your defense of this guy was he was a doctor.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like
I'm a
that doesn't.
doctor.
Yeah, that again. I'm saying like
It doesn't mean much.
yeah, right. Again,
Sometimes
sure, but I'm just saying like
doctors can be kooky
I'm
too.
just throwing it out there. Like take this, how you will.
Gotcha.
Doesn't necessarily
Gotcha.
mean he's. So in a quote from this, it says his name is Ian Stevenson. Ian Stevenson claimed that since Gillian and Jennifer were, I don't know what the heck this means, monozygotic twins.
Oh yeah, the zygote split.
Okay, and
There's
therefore
one zygote split into two.
Okay. Since they're monozygotic twins and therefore were genetically identical, Jennifer's birthmark could not be explained by genetics.
Oh yeah.
Besides, as Florence Pollock didn't believe in reincarnation while pregnant with the twins, the maternal impression, like a psychic effect of the mother on the unborn child, could not be the cause for the marks.
Yeah, it seems weird. Like I didn't even think about that. Like if they're identical twins, why would one have a birthmark?
Well, so this gets rebutted by historian Ian Wilson in the same article. The twins' weird behavior was only witnessed by the parents, which I mentioned earlier. So there's a bias since they believe in reincarnation themselves. They did notice in some of the articles, like they're like identical twins usually would have the same birthmarks, but apparently that's not the case. It's not
In
like
this situation.
in general. Apparently, it's not like a freak incident of like twins not having the same birthmarks.
Yeah, how do birthmarks come about? I thought it was something weird.
I don't know.
It's caused during birth?
I would assume because it's birthmark, right?
I don't know. That seems weird again.
And the big thing I saw too in the articles is like there's no history of the Pollocks having twins in their family.
Yeah, that's a
Which-
big thing
is
too.
Is that real? Is that the real
Yeah.
thing?
You have
Really?
if you don't have twins on apparently again, I'm not
Yeah, I remember
a real
I heard
doctor.
that like on some side of the family, like there's a genetic
on
kind of thing.
the women's side, the
Okay.
woman's side. So on the mother's side, they have to have twins. Like my family, there's twins on my side.
Is there?
Yeah, but not on my wife's side.
Okay.
So supposedly, I mean, but that's the thing is like
I remember hearing that's a thing,
Yeah.
but I don't know if how like true that is. But that was a big thing. Like, how do they have twins? Like, it's never been like a history of that in their family, and it's just kind of like that further pushed along with the birthmark thing outside of what the parents were saying. That kind of like the birthmark thing and the fact they had twins and there wasn't history of twins, kind of pushed the idea of the whole reincarnation thing.
yeah.
On the scientific side, I guess, rather than just the parents just being like, yeah, they walk the same way. And
So apparently, doctors don't really know why or what causes birthmarks. There's some types of birthmarks that are caused by blood vessels being too clumped up in certain areas, but
Okay. What's the difference between a birthmark and a mole? Or are they the same thing?
I don't know.
Those like just same things, like they're synonymous.
Hey man, you're asking me lots of questions that there's no way of me knowing.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is I don't want to crap on people's beliefs by any means, but I think this is just kind of cut and dry. I do feel for these families have to go through like something like this.
Yeah.
And you want to believe and
You're hanging on to any hope.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you're really
for
seeing
better for worse.
you're seeing anything because you want to know that
right,
your children are okay.
right.
Which is weird because like that means your other children.
And suffer because of that, right?
Oh, I mean, in general, I think everybody's suffering at that point. But moles are growths on the skin. They're usually brown or black. A birthmark is a colored mark that appears soon after the baby's birth. So a mole must grow. It's a growth.
Oh,
And
right.
it's above the skin.
Yeah. Okay.
And apparently it can happen whenever.
It'd be cancerous.
So can. Oh, yeah, you're right. There's some gross pictures on here.
I did get a mole removed once, and I didn't know at the time like why. Remember, my mom was like, "Hey, good news, your mole wasn't cancerous." I was like, "What?" That's a thing. Like, I was
Wait,
supposed to be worried about that.
When did they remove it? Oh, she told you after it got removed?
Yeah, I'm sure she told me like why I needed to get removed, but like I don't know. Like when she's like, "Hey, good news, the moles and cancer is like come again." Like I was supposed to be worried
Who,
about
what
this.
now?
Yeah, I have this like
She's like,
scar.
but that other thing is,
I have a scar on my back, and I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be cool." And start telling people, I was like, "Shot."
so she's like,
But they like froze it and cut it off. It was weird.
yeah, I had one on my head that cut off.
Yeah, this. I don't know what this.
It's fine.
I was naked when I shaved my head. It just bleeds.
You can carve that right off. You can carve that baby right off there.
You just get a knife out. You're just like, here.
Remember we did it to one of our friends who had a cyst? Whenever he passed out, we're like, we'll get take care of that for you, bro. That's gross. Wait, so
They didn't actually cut it.
he never got taken care of.
No,
A cyst is just
Yeah, I'm saying like we didn't. I just want to make clear like we didn't cut this dude's head when he was passed out.
I mean,
That would be wrong.
oh yeah, definitely. We didn't actually do it.
Yeah. It was a joke.
But we told him we were going to. No,
Do him a favor.
because he didn't have health insurance. We're trying to help him out.
Yeah,
We're trying to be good friends.
Yeah. We would have sterilized the knife.
I ran it through the fire a couple times. No, we were just gonna puncture it though. We weren't gonna actually cut it off.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just a.
Sorry.
Yeah. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, when your mom said that to you, was she like, "Guess what? You don't have cancer, but your dog died." So like,
yeah.
what was the context of this revelation for you?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Was she like use that as a way to say, "Hey, but I'm moving out or something, or get out of my house"?
Oh no, that was just it.
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah.
They shouldn't use it to soften the blow of something else.
But yeah.
You don't have cancer.
By the way, you're adopted. What?
Yeah. All right.
Mom. Yeah, so I mean I don't believe in this thing being a reincarnation thing.
Do you think it's just the parents?
Yep.
That's where you're going.
Yep.
The parents, again, projecting it on them.
Right.
Or seeing something that wasn't there.
Yeah.
Was the grandma ever like interview you and asked about this?
I tried to find stuff about the grandma. I tried finding stuff about the brothers, and I couldn't really find anything.
Did you say something about the girl when she was 20s in the 80s that she?
Yeah, so they lost their memories of their past lives. Started around 5, and I think went till 7. And then by that time they were gone. They kind of stopped talking as if they were these past children. But in 1981, Gillian, one of the twins, claimed she was having visions of the
sandbox, right?
Yeah, where the family used to live before these twins were born, where Joanna lived when she was 3.
Is there any like follow up? Are they like social media influencers now or something like?
No, it was even hard like finding pictures of like, because there wasn't even a Wikipedia page about this, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah,
there's a Wikipedia page about everything, but like, so a lot of the websites is kind of like, I don't know about this.
Well, thanks for bringing us a bunch of crap, Jordan.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, so we got dead children,
which we love to talk about, apparently,
and reincarnated children.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting because, again, like it's the Western world.
In England.
Yeah, in England, and like it's kind of the first time this was kind of brought up before outside of Asia and India.
Where these parents, I'd imagine reincarnation is more, especially in the West, probably more looked at now, or like more maybe even believed in.
Maybe, yeah.
Probably the way.
Well, yeah, sure, yeah.
The way things are going.
Yeah. But like, there's stories like this that happen, in countries where this, where religion that, thinks reincarnation is a thing. There's stories like this all the time.
Yeah.
But it being, in a country that's not really.
You think it's just a bias? Like it's almost like they're seeing it because they want to see it.
Yes.
So they're looking for it.
Yeah.
So
there's like a confirmation bias. Is that something like that? Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
It's probably more of a confirmation bias of like they know what they're looking for. They go in. They're not doing like research in the fact that they're like going in asking a question. They're going in looking for the answer.
They already have like the answer in their head, and they're just
looking
finding
for it.
things that like, for better or worse, push that. So.
All right, well, Jordan. Well, thank you for bumming me out, and also
I want to know about their brothers. I'm sure the brothers were just like told them a bunch of stuff. like the twins.
The fact that you don't hear from them
Yeah.
about the brothers is probably they were just like, no, this never happened. But I don't know.
Sure.
Well, again, thank you for being here today, Jordan, and bumming me out. Thank you, everybody
That's what
out
I
there,
do.
for being here. We are always open to new stories. If you have any ideas, please reach out to us and through email or social media, or comment on a video or comment on a podcast. Please follow us on any podcast platform. We're on most of them now.
Yeah, if we need to stop doing stuff like this, let us know.
Yeah. Yes, if it's depressing you too as well. And please give us a follow on social media. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. And give us a follow on any podcast platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we thank you all for being here. We love you all. And Jordan, thank you for being here again.
Thank you.
And
Christopher.
we will see you next week. Same mysterious place, same mysterious space on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And I look forward to more mystery. As should you.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Jordan.
Chris.
Same series.
You too, buddy.
Bye-bye.